On Larry King Now, actor and comedian Nick Kroll. Is there any hat you're most comfortable with?
It's a fedora. That's a terrible joke, yeah. I like doing them all. I find them more varied that I'm both behind and in front of the camera, and it keeps all of it more interesting.
Who's someone you like to work with?
I've been able to work with a lot of the comedy people I've always wanted to work with. What about you? Is there anyone you'd like to work with? Is there anyone you haven't interviewed that you'd like to interview?
Fidel Castro, but he died.
I'd like to work with him. Well, you know, when you're starting to go through puberty, you all of a sudden have these new feelings, emotions, and we personified it with a hormone monster who Andrew pitched me the idea, said, I was thinking maybe Andrew should have a hormone monster, and immediately I was like, touch yourself, Andrew.
Plus,
is it too late for us to go on tour together and do stand-up?
I'd like to do an evening with Larry King on Broadway, Larry and Nick.
Finally. That's what everybody's been clamoring for.
It's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now, and our special guest is actor, writer, comedian, producer Nick Kroll. Nick is known for his role in the acclaimed FX comedy The League, as well as his own sketch series, The Kroll Show, on Comedy Central. His recent film work includes Sausage Party, Sing, and Loving. Earlier this year, he wrapped his Broadway debut in Oh, Hello. And now Nick has co-created an animated comedy series called Big Mouth. It's currently streaming on Netflix. Give me the gist of Big Mouth. This is a true life autobiography.
Yes, it's an animated show based on me and my best friend from childhood, Andrew Goldberg. We've known each other since first grade, and we became best friends. And so the show is about us going through puberty, or in my case, not going through puberty. I was a late bloomer, Larry.
What age did you finally reach it?
It's a great question, and you phrased it very delicately, which I appreciate. I think I've had my first pubic hair right around the beginning of high school.
Really? That's a little late.
What about you? Do you remember?
Don't remember.
So the show is really, Andrew ended up a writer for Family Guy, and I've gone and done my stuff, and so we came together for this. We've known each other over 30 years.
Why a cartoon?
Because I think talking about puberty and adolescence and all the sort of the awkward nightmare of that time, animation really lends itself to being able to get surreal, and each kid has like a hormone monster that is with them, and it's the kind of stuff like that. Do you want me to explain a little more about a hormone monster?
No.
You understand.
What is a hormone monster?
Well, you know, when you're starting to go through puberty, you all of a sudden have these new feelings, emotions, and we personified it with a hormone monster who Andrew pitched me the idea, said, I was thinking maybe Andrew should have a hormone monster, and immediately I was like, touch yourself, Andrew. You know, it's like that voice that causes...
I get it.
Yeah.
Netflix is doing this. What about that Adult Swim? Why aren't you on Adult Swim?
You know, Larry, that's a great question.
That's why I'd get this job.
I know, and you've done it with a plum for
60 years.
60 years.
Done it with a peach, too.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Do you know I suck on plum pits?
You suck. I like plum pits, too.
Yeah, you do?
There's nothing like a good plum.
That's right. There is absolutely nothing like a good plum.
I'd rather have a bad plum than a good tangerine.
There it is, guys.
Plums are a summer delight.
They are a summer delight. Okay. Peaches are good, too. I know you want to move on, but I want to talk about stone fruit. Peaches are great. All the fruits that are within... Yeah.
Round and nice.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not big into mangoes, though.
I'm not big into mangoes. The tropical fruits don't treat me quite right.
We're Jewish.
Yeah, exactly. We're not built.
Why are adult animated series like yours will be a hit? Family Guy to Simpsons. Why?
Because I think you can do things in animation that you can't do live action. You can do harder, bigger jokes. I actually think the process of animation allows you to keep tweaking and making things better. I think that's why you see animated films for kids doing really well. Animated shows work in a way that live action comedy...
You can go further.
You can go further, and it's a raunchy, dirty show. It's very, yes.
It should be on Adult Swim.
Well, it's on Netflix, which means there are no rules at all. So we show a girl in the 5th episode, Jessie Klein, who voices Jessie, just meets her vagina for the first time and holds a mirror up to it and has a conversation with her vagina, and the vagina is voiced by Kristen Wiig. And
The vagina talk.
the vagina talks. They have a conversation, and they're like friends who haven't really seen each other in a little while.
So there was nothing was too much.
Nothing was too much. There was one thing that was too much. You don't want to know what it is.
Boy, if Lenny Bruce were alive.
He would like this show.
Lenny was my friend, but Lenny predicted all this.
Did you were close with Lenny Bruce?
Very close.
Did
Good
you?
friend.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Wonderful guy and very funny.
Yes.
And he predicted all of this.
He really?
There'll be cursing, there'll be nude on the Broadway stage, anything will go.
That's right. Did he predict streaming services like Netflix?
No, he didn't know about technical things, but he said filth or dirt, or that they call it like sick humor,
Yes.
will be everywhere.
Yes, he really was ahead of the curve on that. Thanks.
Your good buddy John Mulaney is one of the main voices.
Yes. Yes, John Mulaney and we did Oh Hello together on Broadway, which we wanted to get you on, and I think you were too smart to do it. But if we ever get it back up and running, you should see Oh Hello on Broadway on Netflix. I think you'd like it.
I could do Broadway?
Yeah, you could come do Broadway. You've never done Broadway before?
No. I did a comedy tour where I told stories. I did a lot of major cities. I've done events in New York, conventions.
Yeah.
Like I always tell funny stories. I'm never serious.
Larry.
I would be a stand-up if I weren't doing what I do. But I'd like, if I were one more wish left,
Is it too late for us to go on tour together and do stand-up?
I'd like to do an evening with Larry King on Broadway. Larry and Nick.
Finally. That's what everybody's been clamoring for, the two. So John Mulaney's on the show, and then I'm going to keep answering your question.
Who would I have played in Oh Hello?
Ooh, you would have played our dear friend. It's Gil Faison and George St. Geegland, and they're two Upper West Side gentlemen, legendary bachelors. Gil is a Tony Award viewing actor. See? And Larry, you got to watch Oh Hello. Trust me, it's great. I think it'd be right up your alley.
Closed it?
What closed it? We ended it. We did 4 months on Broadway, and it was the best experience of my life. Really, truly, just
Doing the same thing every
yeah. We'd go to like Joe Allen's and have dinner afterwards, and it was just like the Broadway. It was the dream.
Well, I've talked to many thousands of actors, and all tell me the best thing about Broadway is, it's even though it's the same every night, it's not.
Yes.
Every audience is different. Every experience is different. And there's no. Henry Fonda told me he could not wait to be Mr. Roberts. It would be 2 in the afternoon, and he'd look at his watch and say, "Why isn't it 8 o'clock?"
Yeah. You have that feeling. You go into work at the end of the day, and our show even more so because we were improvising. We wrote the show, so we got to tweak it, and we also interviewed someone every night. I don't know if you know what that's like to sit across the table for someone and try to make them interesting.
Martin Short did that in his show.
Yes, exactly.
I went on. I was interviewed. I was in the audience.
Yes.
He brought me up.
How did you enjoy that experience?
Hysterical.
Yeah, the Jiminy Glick, Martin. It's the best
He hosted
character.
my show on CNN. I was his guest with my wife,
Really?
Jiminy Glick.
Jiminy Glick did it.
Tell me about your mansion.
Isn't it funny? He did our show as well.
You've had an extraordinary kind of. How old are you?
39.
How would you describe your career? Where are you now?
I love.
Are you close to being a household name?
I don't know. I mean, I'm somewhat. To be honest, I am at this particular moment. I am feeling incredibly lucky to do the variety of things I'm doing. So Big Mouth's about to come out, this animated show. It's very autobiographical. I'm doing a basketball movie called Uncle Drew that Kyrie Irving is starring, a bunch of NBA guys in old man makeup playing in a pickup tournament, and I get to be in a very fun, silly role in that. And then I'm going to Argentina to make a movie about the capture of Adolf Eichmann, starring Ben Kingsley.
A comedy?
It's a light-hearted romp.
Capture of Adolf Eichmann can't be.
It's not a comedy. No, it's like a serious. It's Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley, and
Ben plays him?
Ben plays Adolf Eichmann.
Who plays the guy who captured him?
Oscar Isaac, and I play.
He's great.
Yes, he's great, and I play one of the other Mossad agents.
Oh, you're in it?
Yeah, I'll be in it. I'm doing craft services on it.
Are you a producer?
I'm not a producer. I'm just a hired gun, Larry.
Who do you play?
I play a guy named Rafi Eitan, who's one of the Mossad agents.
They got
I finally got him, by the way. I don't know if you guys. I feel like I got you on that one. That's where you're like, oh, now I'm impressed.
Now I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
Next, Nick on his comedic inspirations and dream collaborators. Plus, could we ever see the Kroll Show return to TV? Stay with us on Larry King Now.
Dun dun dun.
We're back with Nick Kroll. He does everything. He acts, he writes, he produces. And his new show is Big Mouth, currently streaming on Netflix. Is
Yes.
there any hat you're most comfortable with?
It's a fedora. That's a terrible joke, yeah. I like doing them all. I find them more varied that I'm both behind and in front of the camera, and it keeps all of it more interesting.
Why are you going to do the Eichmann thing? Why do comics like to do serious stuff?
Why do musicians like to act? Why do serious actors want to do comedy? I think everybody doesn't. Everybody wants to, or I think a lot of people want to try different things and show that they can do it. I mean, truthfully, I think a lot of comedic actors are as good actors as regular actors. You're just saying the lines and you don't have to get a laugh at the end of it. So, and that is a direct shot at actors.
Milton Berle told me they understand pathos.
Yes. And how to keep your robe open in a public place.
When did you know your comedy was your calling? Where did you grow up?
I grew up on the tough streets of Rye, New York.
The tough streets of Rye, New York?
Have you ever played tennis out there, Larry? It's tough.
My late brother lived in Rye, New York. The Knicks trained
in Purchase,
in Pershing, where Pepsi Cola's right.
Exactly. So I grew up there. I went to Georgetown. I started doing comedy at Georgetown.
Yes. I lived in Washington for 20 years. I love Georgetown.
Where did you live?
McLean, Virginia.
There you go.
I spoke to the Georgetown classes.
Yeah.
I spoke to the school.
It's a beautiful institution.
You graduated there?
I did. I made it all the way through. Thanks to the various versions of privilege that I've. A good Catholic school for a nice Jewish boy like me.
Who was a comedian influence on you?
Oh, I mean, there's a bunch, but I'd say Mel Brooks is probably the top of my list. I watched all of his movies.
Spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
2,000-Year-Old Man.
It's the best.
Genius album.
Yeah, it's the best. And 2,000-Year-Old Man was a major influence on Oh Hello that John and I did. It was the patter between him and Reiner that we followed tremendously. And Mel came to the show, and me and John had a meeting at his office, and when we left the meeting, he gave us each a box of Raisinets.
He is the funniest man. I've known every funny man. There's no one funny.
I agree.
He's funnier on the street. He's funnier walking.
Yeah, and besides you, he's got the most energy of any man over 60 that I've ever.
He's in his 90s.
Yeah.
Who inspires you today?
Oh, the kids, the children.
You have children?
I don't have children. Other people's children inspire me.
Other people's children? Are you married?
No. Do you know anyone?
Single all your life?
I have been single all my life. I mean, I've had various girlfriends for extended periods of time. Do you think I should get married? Should I settle down?
Up to you. Who's someone you like to work with?
Who would you like? Who would I like to work with? Who would I like to work with? I'd like to work with. I don't even know. I've been able to work with a lot of the comedy people I've always wanted to work with. What about you? Is there anyone you'd like to work with? Is there anyone you haven't interviewed that you'd like to interview?
Fidel Castro, but he died.
I'd like to work with him.
After the break, who would Nick trade places with for a day? How about his funniest fan encounter? We'll learn these answers and more in a game of If You Only Knew. Next on Larry King Now. We're back with Nick Kroll. The Big Mouth is currently streaming on Netflix. It should be on Adult Swim. Can it go to Adult Swim?
It can't, Larry. I'm not sure why you're so fixated on being Adult Swim.
Because Adult Swim so fits it.
It does, but Netflix, I would say, is a good. Although, what are we on? Hulu here? Hulu would be great too. I mean, there's so many great services out there.
Netflix is the biggest. Amazon controls the world.
Amazon does control the world, and
I was at Whole Foods today. That's Amazon.
They bought Whole Foods. Isn't that crazy?
Today.
Alta Vista just bought a bodega on 73rd Street.
The Kroll Show was a big hit.
Yes.
You got a lot of praise.
Yes.
Why did you stop it?
We did 3 seasons of it, and it felt like we had evolved the show to where it was a natural completion. It was all disparate groups of sketches, and by the 3rd season, they all started tied together. And we just, so it felt like I was tired, and I was ready to do new stuff, and it opened up the landscape to do Oh Hello and this Big Mouth show and stuff. So.
Is sketch comedy more comfortable to you, say, than stand-up?
A little more. I find it easier sometimes hiding behind a character than being my own person.
You don't do stand-up?
I do stand-up, but I've done it, and now I do more for fun, because I have some friends who are like John and John Mulaney and all those guys, some people who I think are the funniest stand-ups in the world, and I watch them, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever be that good at this.
Will Oh Hello come back?
I mean, if you're willing to do the show with us, we will do a 3-man Oh Hello. George St. Geegland, Gil Faizon, and Larry King.
Okay, I tell you what.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Okay.
If you'll do it.
Okay.
If you bring it back.
Okay, if you do it, I'll do it.
So you'd have to write the character in, right?
Larry, you've written the character for 60 years on TV. We're going to just...
So I wing it.
Yeah, you wing it every day. We'll have elaborate dance routines behind you ready to go.
We have dancers in it?
We can have dancers in it.
You got it. I'll do it. I could do this show in New York.
Great.
We could produce it here. We could do it any way you want.
We'll do it wherever, and we'll get the dancers.
I'm going to Broadway. Ma! Ma! What is that Jimmy Cagney line?
Yeah.
Made it to the top. Boom. Okay, we play a little game of If You Only Knew. Get ready, Nick. You're not required to answer them. But
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Who is your childhood celebrity crush?
Oh, Cindy Crawford.
Not bad.
Right? Good taste
Not
so far,
bad. Every
right?
Jew would have that.
Yes.
Secret talent.
I suck on plum pits.
Person you trade places with for a day.
Oh, Putin.
Oh, you like a little power.
I want to be the richest man in the world.
And you want to bug Trump.
Yeah, and I want to get fillers.
Weirdest job you've ever had?
I was I did sprinkler installation.
You did what?
Sprinkler installation. Just dig ditches and to.
A Jewish boy did sprinkler installation?
Yeah, of course.
Who'd you work for? A plumber?
I worked for a guy in Connecticut. I would
did lawns?
Yeah, we would do lawns, and it was raining a lot that summer, so they laid me off, and I was thrilled.
Were you a good sprinkler installer?
I was not a very good sprinkler installer. I wasn't bad, but I definitely I was not very good at it.
Guilty pleasure?
Oh, I guess heroin.
Okay. Biggest risk you ever took?
I guess doing heroin is a guilty pleasure.
Biggest risk, same thing.
Biggest risk is playing the game Risk.
Best compliment you ever got?
I'm shooting this movie in Atlanta, and people weren't sure if I was mixed race, and I found that to be high praise.
What never fails to make you laugh?
Oh, saying that to you and then seeing your facial response to it.
Worst piece of advice you ever got?
Do the anecdote about being confused for being interracial on the Larry King Now show.
You're a good guess. Something you wish you were better at?
Preparing for interviews with Larry King.
Best perk of being a celebrity?
Talking to Larry King on Larry King Now on Hulu.
Person you'd like to be stranded with on a desert island?
Oh, Larry, I think you know the answer to that one.
Strangest fan encounter?
I met Larry King one time, and strangest fan.
Why did you choose this show to come out of the closet?
It felt like the safest space for me.
Okay.
You seem like a sympathetic soul.
Is there something what strangest fan encounter?
I put my hand into an HVAC system one time. It doesn't make any sense.
Nothing makes any sense with you, Nick.
Yeah.
Is there something you long believed to be true and realized wasn't?
God.
Yeah, me too. If there's a God,
Yeah.
he flunked.
Yeah.
Tell me something I don't know about you.
Well, you know I suck on plum pits. So this chin strap beard is not a aesthetic choice for me.
And why do you have it?
For the movie I'm making right now. Did you ever have for the basketball movie? Did you ever have facial hair?
For the what?
The basketball movie I'm shooting right now.
I never had facial hair.
A goatee?
No, it would have been red.
Do you
My
have
grandfather had red hair.
Really?
Whenever I let it grow, it's red.
Do you shave every day?
Electric, and then sometimes with a.
Do you ever go and do like a straight razor?
Yeah.
Do you trust it?
I like the feel of a straight razor.
Yes.
Better electric razor, but electric razor is fast.
We got stuff to do.
You can do impressions.
Sort of.
Like who do you do?
Oh, I do Sylvester Stallone.
Let me hear it.
Hey, great, Larry, great.
That's very good.
Thank you.
Who else do you do?
I do Joe Walsh from the Eagles.
Well, I've interviewed.
Your show forever, Larry.
Nick,
All the current big characters, Larry.
how raunchy does Big Mouth get?
It gets pretty raunchy. I mean,
You laugh at it when you're doing it.
it's the most fun, and it's with the people I made it with. Not only Andrew Goldberg from my childhood, John Mulaney from who I met in college. It's Jenny Slate and Jesse Klein and Jason Mantzoukas, who I met doing improv and stand-up in New York when I started
How'd you
out.
get Miss Wig to do it?
She's become a friend over the years, and Fred Armisen and Maya Rudolph are also on the show, and Jordan Peele is the ghost of Duke Ellington. And,
The ghost of Duke Ellington.
Yeah, he haunts my family's house.
Do they draw them after you do them?
Yeah, we build the character designs, then we voice the radio play, 25 minutes, and then we build the animation off of that.
Do they draw you to look like you?
Yes, I look like the 13-year-old version of me, which was all forehead and lips and about 6 inches shorter than everybody else.
So you never get into early sex experiences?
We do slowly. It's
How?
Well, there are makeouts because I don't have the material to finish the job, and that's partly what the show is about. That feeling of the show is Andrew when we were that age. Had a full beard, and his father made his mother wax his upper lip to get rid of his little mustache. And then he couldn't grow any facial hair on his lip for years after that. And I was this tiny little thing, and the girl liked me, and it came through the rumor mill that she was maybe interested in figuring out a way to pleasure me, and I was like, that sounds great, but nothing's gonna really happen. You know what I mean? You don't have
Wow.
It's real stuff, Larry.
What was it finally like when it finally happened?
Oh, it was glorious. I was
Remember
36
where?
years old.
In our final moments, Big Mouth star Nick Kroll will take your questions from social media. Don't click away. You did a lot of improv, Nick Kroll, didn't
Yes.
you? Yeah.
Yes.
Is that difficult?
For me, it's not. I think
You still do it, right?
I still do it, and I love it, and I do it. I found that, I mean, it's a hugely important method. Even my writing style, when I'm writing, it's all improvising. I mean, conversation is improv, and so you're a great improviser. You keep something going.
What do you do when improv bombs? I mean, you know your material. I do a lot of stand-up. I do a lot of... I know what's funny.
Yes.
But since the questions come from the audience, I can do a lot of funny things.
Correct.
But it's hard when you say something and it doesn't go.
Yes. You want to put a shotgun in your mouth. But no, I found that you just plow through. It's like everything else. If you just keep doing it, each time, if you have a failure, the failure means less because you fail every...
It's great training, though.
Yes, and it's played into everything I've done.
Okay, we have
except for this interview, which is entirely pre-scripted.
And it's also tragic. Read your next lines. At Eleanor, we have some social media questions.
I'm looking forward to hearing the question. Larry.
Eleanor Ellie on Twitter. What's the most embarrassing thing that happened to you in middle school?
I got pantsed.
Pants?
Yeah, you would think it would be putting an extra pair of pants on, but it's actually when someone pulls your pants down.
And who did that to you?
This girl, Jenny, who I had a girl did it, and she pulled down not only my pants but my underwear as well.
Where was this?
This was at a party, and I was facing my childhood crush. I was 13 years old.
What did you say to her?
I pulled up my pants and I think waited about 10 minutes and then started crying. It was a traumatic event and led me to create the show Big Mouth.
Joe Meekum on Facebook.
What's up, Joe?
Did you watch the Emmys? What did you think of the show? Mm-hmm. And any surprises for you on the big winners?
I did watch the Emmys. I thought Stephen Colbert was great, very funny. I thought the red carpet on the stage was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
I didn't see it.
And then the In Memoriam, it was all a lot of candles and weird fake framed pictures, and it was. I thought that was kind of weird. So that's my take on the Emmys. As far as big winners go, I mean, I can't believe Frasier won again, but what a show.
At Oscar Money 83 on Twitter, would you ever consider bringing back the League with the rest of the cast?
I don't think so. I mean, it was super fun. The league was. I was on a show called The League. It was a show about fantasy football, and it was great. But I mean, how about this? Once they stop having all football players stop having permanent brain damage, I'll bring back the league.
Yeah, well, goodbye to that. At Tweets from Atheist, when will you be taking Oh Hello on the road, and can Larry be involved? This is someone else wants me.
I mean, if crazy.
Why would I fit this show? I didn't see it.
Because it's about a kind of guys who you would know, who they would be very jealous of your success.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Play me?
You would play. I mean, what would you want to play? Do you ever play a character besides you?
I'd love to. The only time was in animated series.
What show was it?
In Shrek, I was the ugly stepsister.
Oh, but you're not an ugly stepsister, Larry.
The B movie with Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
I was Larry B. King.
Oh, that's a different character.
That was sort of someone else.
Yeah.
At Emily Senef on Twitter,
Uh-huh.
who would you like to play Gil's ex-wife, mother of his sons in Oh Hello?
Well, his ex-wife, the first video we shot years ago was with Julie White, who's a wonderful actress. She played Franny Faison. Gil Faison, they're divorced, but he took her name, and then he kept her name.
You got weird people, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
At KJM1016 on Twitter, could we ever see you bring publicity to the big screen or to a series? That would be amazing.
Amazing.
Tell me what
Publicity is these two characters me and Jenny Slate did on Kroll Show, two publicists named Liz, and it's a very fun character. I think you would like it. In fact, I think you would see the characters we're playing. You would know these women. You've dealt with them.
What do they talk like?
Oh my God, Larry, it's like such an honor to be here with you. I'm like such a long-time fan.
And how to come up with amazing?
It's amazing.
Just certain words are fun to say certain ways. But Mike, there's a character on Big Mouth that if you liked my character Liz, you will like, named Lola.
At Sentimentality on Twitter, what was your reaction to the first time you saw yourself as Liz from publicity in the mirror?
Finally, my true self. You know what I mean?
You really felt, this is me.
This is me. It feels great.
Do you want to be married someday?
I think so. Do you? You're married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few times.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a father?
I assume I will be.
Will you be a good father?
I think I'll be a pretty good father.
If it's a son, will he be bar mitzvahed?
If it's a daughter, he'll be bar mitzvahed.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Larry. A real pleasure.
Come back at whatever character you want to come back.
You know I will.
I want to thank my guest, Nick Kroll. Be sure to watch Big Mouth, streaming now on Netflix. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Kings Things. I'll see you next time.